I was wondering how this went.
Ben probably wished he was here to help pick this Preakness Stakes deal, but
I would have been wrong with you guys.
let's start with the NHL games that John sat in Ben's chair on Friday.
And he disgraced the chair right off the bat.
Right off the bat, the pick for the NHL game was the Bruins versus the Florida Panthers. That went awry as the Panthers win. All three of us picked it, so now the show record is 10-5-1.
10-7-1.
What? How did we lose two more?
Because we were 10-6-1 before that pick.
Wow.
Who we had, gentlemen, as we make these picks on Friday, but unlike other sports shows, we actually tell you what we did. So you guys went Bruins.
Well, we were trying to force a game 7, and it didn't work out as Florida ends it in 6. But if you watch the line after, I think the Panthers respect Jeremy Swayman a lot.
Oh, yeah.
After that series.
Oh, yeah.
And so that was one of the longest handshake lines I've ever watched because it was like 10 minutes long. Everybody that went by him had to tap him in the chest and kind of give him, daps and hugs and be like, dude, man, we barely got that second one by you to win this thing.
I think there's a little bit of a rivalry brewing here. I mean, both teams are going to be good for a little bit. And I don't think the Panthers are going anywhere. They got a lot of young talent. The Boston Bruins obviously aren't going anywhere. And I expect them to meet up again sometime soon in the NHL playoffs in the near future. But it would be nice if the Bruins won one of these series against the Panthers. That would really make it a rivalry.
The only one that had the NBA pick right was John, as John had the Pacers.
All right, John, bringing back the seat. He's bringing respect to the seat that I'm
Both
sitting
Kurt and I had the Knicks. We thought the Knicks would pull it out. And
I'm guessing you guys were just banking on Madison Square Garden being so hyped.
The sixth man. We thought like maybe Spike Lee would dunk a few. And I told you this in the last round that I didn't like the fact they kept bringing back the old fogies from 94 or whatever. Spreewell was there every game, and Larry Johnson was there. I mean, they were like pulling out some dudes, man, that just like to really pull the 90s Knicks up. And it was just, I'm like, I'm not feeling that.
Starks, I get. Oakley, I understand. Like that team that beat the Pacers, gotcha. I understand that Spreewell and all them in the 90s, they won a series as well.
But they haven't won a championship since 72.
It just feels like the entire league and the media world is pulling for the New York Knicks to win an NBA championship.
You know the broadcasters are. Not the broadcast, the whoever's
ESPN,
covering the NBA,
dude,
ESPN.
That was bad.
Because listen, you want LA and New York. That's going to probably get you the most eyeballs.
Oh, it's not LA and New York still?
Exactly.
I thought LeBron was still in the playoffs. I was watching ESPN all day.
And the problem was they were decimated by injury. I mean, when Randall went down, I thought they played exceptionally well without Julius Randle. And then Robinson goes down, then Anubli goes down, and it's like, one guy after another. It's like, how many more guys can you lose and still be effective? Then Hart in game 6, Hart is grabbing his abdomen from the first part of that game on. It was like, maybe you should take that dude out. Looks like, it's the opposite side of your appendix, but it looked like some kind of an attack.
I do think that Josh Hart has opened some eyes on how good he is, and I wouldn't let that guy go no matter what happens.
Oh, no, and I felt bad for him. He's like, this is my 6th team in 4 years, and you people really welcome me in. I almost start crying when he was saying all that stuff. It's like, man, he been passed around like an old suit.
I do think DiVincenzo is here to stay. I just like that trio of Villanova. I think that's really cool.
I like the fierceness of DiVincenzo. He's kind of like the guy that's fighting the guy like McConnell on the Pacers. He's in someone's face. He's a disruptor. The other guys are just awesome. The other guys do a great job.
Precious Achua had a great series. I thought he really had to step up.
had a great series.
Had to step up. Yep. Hartenstein had a great season.
Yeah.
Like Hartenstein is my favorite Knick. Hartenstein plays every game. Hartenstein may have been hurt the whole entire time. And that guy never complains. That guy does all the dirty work. All the dirty work for the New York Knicks. They will be back, man. If they can keep that core together, and Randall comes back average, I think they're going to be fine. But I agree with Crispino. If they can make a move in the offseason, they're going to be all right.
Yeah, Noonby, he had 15 points per game. DiVincenzo ended up with almost 18 points per game. But Brunson, man, averaged like 24 points a game in the regular season, 32, almost 33 points per postseason game in the 13 games. That guy's a star. And he proved it by showing up for almost every one of those games.
You guys do get the overall show record back to some respectability and go 4 games above 500, as I see you all picked the CT Sun to win on the weekend against Aaliyah Edwards and those Washington Mystics. So we are now 11-7-1 as a show in 2024.
Yeah, and the Mystics are not really mystifying that anybody, but we love Aaliyah Edwards, and The CT Sun's one of the top 3 teams in WNBA.
2-0 right now. And, oh, by the way, let me see this schedule. Let's see. Who do they got next? Oh, the Indiana Fever, don't you know? When is that game? Tonight. Oh, CT Sun in Indianapolis to take on Caitlin Clark and the Fever. We shall see how that goes. The Fever are starting the season 0-3. The other teams you are probably talking about, WNBA's champions, the Vegas Aces. By the way, did you hear the story about the Aces?
And the 100,000 per they're being investigated.
The Tourism Bureau of Las Vegas is sponsoring all of them.
Well, you just gave a lifetime ban to an NBA player for gambling, and then you're going to come out with a casino and the gambling commission giving 100,000 per player.
I'm interested to see where this goes. I can't wait to see where this goes. CT Sun got the Fever tonight, and you guys picked the winner on the weekend. 11-7-1 is the show. Now let's go to the PGA Championship, shall we? Oh, Schauffele, I see, is written next to Rob's name. Old X-Man. Yep. Dibs gets the win. Ding dong. Wire-to-wire winner. You didn't think he was going to falter, man? It had a couple of Sunday breakdowns.
You know what? It wasn't anything brilliant. He was leading. I did think Scheffler would play well. Finishing 8th after you get arrested is not a bad tournament for anybody.
It's got to be at first, right?
Yeah, exactly. So he had one bad day out of 4. So
what? Now, I didn't see a lot
Kurt
of this.
had Morikawa.
Right.
And John had Thigala, your guy. See, again,
Sahith can't close on Sunday.
After the first 2 days, Thigala looked great, right? Then they do the sit-down interview with him, and he talks about, I'm going to be fighting my nerves. And it's like, dude, why do you got to put the guy on the spot? Almost like you piled it on him. Yeah. You made him think about it, so he dwelled on it. And then the next 2 days, he basically didn't play as well.
Do we have footage of Scotty Scheffler warming up in his jail cell? Has anybody put that out there yet? Like, what
I'm
kind
sure
of?
They do. They're on camera.
Is it like a stretch routine, or do you think he actually found a broomstick and was doing some?
They're not going to let you have a broomstick in there. They take. Now he had shorts and a shirt, but if he had a belt, they take that off.
Yeah.
If he had shoelaces, they take those. Mm-hmm. All of the precautionary stuff. So I think it's just a steel slab in there. He was probably doing some dips,
little air golf, maybe like an air swing.
Yep.
No club in hand. I'm just interested because he said he warmed up.
The stretch routine that the old guy Jimenez does, the guy with the cigars.
Yeah.
I just think stir crazy with Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor, and they're in there with the mass murderer. And the guy's like 500 pounds.
Yes.
And he can't breathe.
I was thinking this as well. He's by himself, right? Like, he didn't go in Gen Pop. Like, he wasn't thrown with.
But okay, so here's the problem, too. And honestly, we talked about this on Friday. Why do you put him in the jumpsuit? Why do you put him in the orange jumpsuit?
Standard practices, Rob. Everybody's like everybody else. Ain't nobody get special treatment around here.
No. There's no reason to put him in an orange jumpsuit and then release him an hour later. If he wasn't staying overnight, but what did they do? A strip search? Did they say bend over and spread him?
Standard protocol, Rob. We do it to everybody. No favoritism around here. I just imagine, like you're saying, it's stir crazy. Like there's a big Bam Bam Bigelow looking dude with a tattoo on his scalp, and he's like cracking Scheffler's back, like getting him ready and limber and loose up. Like, buddy, I know who you are. I know I got
money on you, man.
Got money on you. You got tee off at 10 a.m.
Don't worry about 5-0, man.
This is one I know. Here, bend over here, and then let me crack your
back. But like I said,
yeah.
For him to get there 56 minutes before tee time to go out and shoot a 5-under. And then be so apologetic and be very positive about the police and all that kind of stuff. I mean, some people could have gone the other way. He chose the high road, and
I would have gone nuts. I would have been raising all kinds of hell because, like,
He's a mellow guy. He just had a baby 4 days earlier. It's like, really?
I was thinking about that too.
Anybody have any mercy for this guy? Because he's not going to get a minute's sleep for the next year.
Now, when it first broke, you don't know a lot of the details, and you do think it's like, I'm Scotty Scheffler. Move aside. I don't care what's going on.
He didn't do
I know.
That
That's
was
totally not the way it happened. But just the whole thing. Like, I get really anxious if I'm coming up to about 30 minutes to my tee time and I'm not at the golf course yet. I can't imagine what my nerves would be like if it's the second round of the PGA Championship and I'm stuck in this jail cell and I only got 4 hours to get to the course.
And he had the wherewithal of knowing his tee time. He's watching Get Up on the TV through his cell. So obviously there's somebody there with a sense of humor that was like, hey, let's put ESPN's coverage of the PGA Championship right here where, 06-17-8-9 can see it. And so he's watching it, and he's like, all right, I better stretch and stuff. So my tee time's coming up here. He was just hoping that they'd let him out in time to make it. How far away is the jail?
I was thinking that too.
Most jails are not like right down the street.
Right.
They're 30 minutes, maybe an hour away. This dude was right down the street, popped right back into Valhalla, and he was able to make his tee time.
Well, this ain't the big house. And we know the big house, you've seen the big house down there in Cincinnati, Louisville area. That is far away and out in the open.
Well, that's when you're in the pen.
Right, that's
when
the big house.
You in the state pen.
And I was wondering this too, like what jurisdiction, what cop shop are we in right now to just hold this guy for 4 hours? That it must have been really close to the Valhalla golf course for him to get back there. Amazing. It really was an amazing story of the weekend. That's not it, boys. Don't go anywhere. Preakness. You did select the Preakness, and I'm not seeing.
I got them right here. It's on the card. So I had Catching Freedom.
Okay.
Kurt,
Uncle Heavy.
Kurt had Uncle Heavy,
and
John had Just Steele.
John obviously went with Just Steele because he's a baseball guy. Justin Steele, that's probably why you picked it. Kurt, Uncle Heavy, that's a no-brainer.
I like the song Philadelphia Freedom, so that's why I took Catching Freedom.
Philadelphia was our friend Kevin and Sees the Gray.
Kevin wins, our good buddy. Sees the Gray.
Long-time listener, plays all the time.
Tom was second with Mystic Dan.
Mystic Dan. Very
and
close.
And then JJ with Catching Freedom was third.
JJ doesn't win that often.
And then everybody else got $25.
Even the guy who picked Muth.
Yeah, Muth. Justin.
Muth would have smoked everybody if he was going there. But he's on PED.
But,
so,
yeah.
No, we had a fever. Well, that's Bob Baffert's horse, by the way. Yeah,
he's on the juice, Dibs.
He's on something.
We told you he had the mohawk like Jose Canseco, and he had a lot of pimples on his shoulders. We knew he was on the juice. But the Triple Crown in 3 weeks now, June 8th will be the Belmont, and we shall see. It's going to be a rematch between Mystic Dan and Sees the Gray. Now, I don't know if you guys heard this, but the Mystic Dan was very close to not even running in this. His trainer didn't even want to put him in this, and I would say public pressure kind of put him in the mix. And a very good race. Like, that could have went Mystic Dan's way.
Well, they were saying that he was a mutter.
You are right. He is a mutter. He is a mutter. And it was somewhat sloppy there. It wasn't completely sloppy. There wasn't standing water on the track, but it was muddy.
By the way, Scotty Scheffler was in the Louisville Metro Department of Corrections. I don't know how far away that is from where
downtown,
Valhalla is, but yeah, I think that is downtown. I think that's a ways away. Mm-hmm. So do you think that they may have gotten a police escort back?
I'm very interested in the whole thing. I still am. Like all the logistics of everything. I don't know if we're ever going to find out some of these
By
details.
the way, the arraignment that was supposed to be tomorrow has been moved to June 3rd. So
we will see what happens there. But
I think he'll have a new appreciation for the security around these events from now on. And I bet he'll. If it were me, first of all, I was surprised he was driving, because usually you either have a friend, somebody else in your entourage that's doing the driving. It's 6 a.m.
Yep.
You know, you're probably not groggy. These guys are always up early. He's probably up at 4 o'clock getting ready to do this. But At the same time, the fact that he's driving, he's got his credential out the window, and then that's where all of this stuff occurs afterward. And it's like, man.
John's found it out that it's 27 minutes driving time on a regular basis, like, outside of rush.
Right.
6 o'clock in the morning, I'm assuming there's no rush.
But still, he's got to get back.
But now he's got to get back at 9 o'clock. That's rush hour traffic on a Friday.
Yeah, Friday.
So I'm telling you, I think that the police probably gave him an escort to get back.
Very interesting how it all went down.
This is what we were talking about. You don't want to lose the possibility of the event coming back there. Millions of dollars are being exchanged around the community. It's so good for them to have this. Yeah. So, somebody from the golf course or somebody from the PGA had to be in touch with the governor of Kentucky and maybe the mayor right there and be like, listen, cooler heads have to prevail here. We've got to try to tamp this story down, do some kind of goodwill here. Scotty has done all the right stuff. So by the time they released him, they had to be like, okay, yeah, this was ugly. This is now worldwide. It was on worldwide news. This wasn't just on
biggest
ESPN
story in Montreal.
This is worldwide because he's the number one player in the world.
Right.
And so the backlash for the local PD is not going to be favorable no matter what. And it's like, so They probably tried to clean this whole thing up.
So, again, I'm in Montreal. I see it on SN. I know that it's a story. I know I look up because I think, were the first person to tip me off. And then I look up his tee time. And now
my wife tipped me off at 7 a.m.
10 a.m. has passed, which, by the way, he's getting there at 6 a.m. for the 10 a.m. tee time. What time do they get there for the 6 a.m. tee time? Getting there at 2?
3?
Do they even sleep the night before? But anyway, when it happens and I see that he had made his tee time, I catch up with it when he's on hole 12. That's the last time I check up. And I think in my head, I don't know if you saw him getting to the course and walking out to the tee, but in my head, I think of Charlie Sheen in Major League, and it's Wild Thing, and he's coming out, all of a sudden he's been in jail, so he just got a new prison tat. He's not wearing sleeves on his polo, and somebody's playing Wild Thing as he's walking up to the tee box. And now all of a sudden, he means business. I've been to the big house, and now my whole life has changed, and I ain't taking it easy on you punks any longer.
His son or daughter was born May 16th.
Aww.
So he was a new dad maybe days before this incident. That's from one of the highest highs to the lowest lows, baby.
It's all bad timing.
I'll tell you what, this guy, I'll be in a foxhole with this dude because he's calm.
It's all bad timing.
I'm not calm. To keep your cool after all that stuff, and like he said, he was in shock when he got back to the golf course.
Yeah.
And that probably helped him. But then that shock probably. He went down on Saturday, and then he went back up on Sunday. But
well, we're running it back. Charles Schwab starts on Thursday. We'll see if he's going to be there or not.
All right, we'll talk some more playoffs when we come back. We got to get into this Edwin Diaz, though, with the Mets. Giving it up his last 3-4 outings. Now he's trying to get out of being the closer for the New York Mets. No more Timmy Trumpet.
What are we going to do?
Yeah, what is he going to do? They just gave him $100 million to be the closer. So, yep, was crying in the locker room. There's no crying in baseball.
No crying in baseball.
There's no crying in baseball. So, again, but we'll talk some NBA playoffs, some NHL playoffs. As I think there's kind of some shock that the Rangers aren't playing the Bruins, but the Rangers and the Panthers will open up their series coming up. I think it's tomorrow that they start their series at Wednesday game. So they get a couple of days off to just try to heal up a little bit. There's a lot of beating up going on in all those series. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. It's the Rob Dibble Show with Ben Darnell on your afternoon drive here on Fox Sports Radio. Kurt Kaplan on the ones and twos. John Ashmead is on the YouTube video channel.